Okay, so I'm super sweaty. You can see the shirt is just hanging off me. I'm all wet at the moment, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'll tell you about that later. But I just found this, it's like a memorial to someone who's died on the 22nd of October 2001. It looks pretty well maintained, but I'm just a little bit like, I don't quite get what the image is. Is the image how he died? And if so, why would you put that on the memoriam for the person? Because it's a dude lying down with a tree who's just fallen on. I mean, like, it's not funny, but put up a picture of him having a good time or something. Don't put up a picture of him dead under a bush. It's getting kind of late. I've had to walk up this mountain pretty much twice now, and I've still got another, like, a whole other uphill to go, and it's like 20 past 8, so I've got an hour and a half to find somewhere to sleep. If my maps are correct, I should be out, or I should be going on the downhill at least in about an hour's time. But holy shit, this hill keeps on going up and up and up. I've already done like 5 kilometers. One of those kilometers I did backwards. Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. I've got to go. So I was real fucking stoked for this downhill. And it started, and I took times, I took distances, because I wanted to see how fast the downhill would go, how far it would take me. So I started at 53 kilometers, and then by the time the downhill finished, I'd be able to see that I'd done 13 kilometers without pedaling, and that's super exciting. That's actually the furthest that I've ever done on a downhill without pedaling was 13 kilometers. But good thing I kept on checking the map, because the road suddenly turns off, and I just went past it, and I walked a little bit back up the hill. And the turnoff is this. So the road, this is paved road, according to, wait, is it paved? Okay, so at some point, the paved road just suddenly becomes unpaved, whereas from my perspective, it's been unpaved the entire time. Maybe they updated the road or something, I don't know. This is not an unpaved road. This is a fucking grass, bushy, full of ticks, death way. And now I've got to push my bike a kilometer through grass ticky death way, which at least if I get tired halfway through I can set up a tent. But this isn't a road, maps tell me. This is not a path. Maybe this was once a path, but it is not anymore, and that needs to be fixed. But there is civilization not too far away, so I'm gonna get pushing. The forest though is lovely. It's so quiet I can only just hear cars in the distance. I saw a couple of deer. That was pretty exciting. It's always exciting seeing wildlife. I saw a mole, but not digging, it was dead. Yeah, I've seen 2 deer and a mole, and that's pretty much my wildlife for the day. Time to get shoveling. There are a couple of tire marks along that are full of water and other deadly bacteria. Good thing I'm not drinking them. And it's also super muddy and super slippery. I mean, there is a path. You can see that a path has existed once upon a time. But it is, oh fuck, thorns. It is nowhere near, stinging needle. It is nowhere near rideable, as you can see. Although the grass is very lush. The grass is ultra lush, so I wouldn't mind camping here at all, but I've got to get a move on because I have not covered enough ground today. So I started here in Germany, and then I went to Salzburg, and then I followed a path, and the path went to this lake here. It probably would have been faster if there was a path that followed around the highway here, but instead it was like, why don't you head up this hill here? It went all the way up here, and then it cut off into here, and then came down the other side, which, I mean, it's more direct, definitely. The entire uphill was pushing, and then the entire downhill was the grassy area that I showed you. And just like I said, told you so, it was a ticky, grassy highway, and I found 2 ticks. I've only found 2 ticks, I don't know if there are more. I've been looking, but I haven't seen any. And one of them was fucking huge. So glad I caught them before they got their teeth in. I'm not exactly halfway between these 2 points, am I? But I should be able to do that tomorrow. That's no problem. I've done that distance. I've done that distance on some of my short days, so that should be easy to get to Linz tomorrow, and then hopefully a little bit further on, and with only 1% battery to spare, although I'm on charge now. So, good night everybody. I smell. I'm sleeping in a really bad place, and I'm gonna have to get up really, really early tomorrow, just like I did today, but hopefully I'll be able to put a bit more backbone into it than I did today. I've been sitting at Starbucks and eating ham and cheese sandwiches and drinking espressos. Good night! So I woke up this morning and I came down to a small town by a lake, not very far from where I was staying. I just kind of stopped to get ice cream, and there's a bus coming. And in this small town I found a bike pump that was outside of one of the bike shops, so I pumped up my tyres. And then, obviously because my tyres are a little bit harder, it's a bit more of a shock to the rest of the bike whenever I go off like a bump or something like that. So I was walking across the road to get my ice cream, and I took it off the curb, and as soon as the back wheel hit the curb I heard a snap, and I thought that something had fallen off the bike, but there was nothing on the ground, so I kept on pushing it and realised it was kind of hard to push. And I kind of knew this was coming because the rack just wasn't made for what I was doing with it. But now it's a Sunday, which means everything is closed, and there's a nice big crack in my aluminium rack, which means that the rack is now sitting on the rear tire. So what this means for me is that I need a new rack, and the problem that I have at the moment is that I'm in a town that has one bike store and it doesn't open till tomorrow. So I looked around the region, I looked at Lynn's, which is where I'm headed, and it's got like 5 bike stores, but they don't open until tomorrow. So I'm sitting at the train station and I've looked up tickets. They're not very expensive as far as I can see. They're actually quite cheap. So I could just catch a bus or a train to Lynn's, spend the night at a cheap hostel or something, and then get it fixed tomorrow. But I kind of feel like I'm cutting out. There's a the hill profile for the day looked really, really good. It was all downhill. So I'm kind of bummed. The other thing I could do is probably ask some people, because there's quite a few people cycling around here. Ask them to see if anyone knows where I could get a rack. The only problem is that the bike isn't suited for regular racks, so I'd need P-clamps as well, which are kind of specialised, and I'm guessing I'll probably only be able to find them at a bike shop. I love predicaments. It's crazy. Okay, next step is I need to figure out a way out of here. I think I'm not going to get anything done by hanging around here for another day. And I don't think the bike shop that is here isn't really the kind that looks like it sells bike racks or anything like that, or would have P-clamps on hand. I guess I'll see you guys either on the train or on the bus or in Lynn's. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I was just trying to hitchhike and I've been taken in, and the rack that was broken, that was attached to the back of the bike right there, you can see the, I don't know if you can see it, this middle bit is where the paint has worn out. But I met someone who knew someone who opened up the bike shop for me, and the guy in the bike shop tried to sell me another one of the same like on the back of the bike neck, what are they called, the seat post racks. And the one he tried to sell me only had 9 kilograms of allowance, which is 1 kilogram less than the one from Decathlon, and it was way more expensive. It was like €50 or something. So he went out the back and he found this rack, which actually I didn't check the brand. I think it is a Topic, which is the same as what I've got on my Quad Fur, but the bonus is that he gave us some C-clamps. So it's clamped properly to the frame rather than to the back of the tube, and doing a little bit of damage to the paint, as you can see right there. I don't know if, so it's done a little bit of damage to the paint. I don't know if that's some damage to the metal of the frame though. It looks like it might be a little bit worn, but this is a much tidier setup in here now. I don't know if it's set up completely correctly. We've done it in with just regular Phillips screws, but it feels solid and it looks solid, and all my luggage is on there and it's holding up fine. And it's even got one of these elastic things that holds up to the big packages. So yeah, on my way to Lynn's. I'm in Lynn's. I've actually been here for an entire day. Both of the batteries for my camera were dead because I forgot to charge one of them. But I'm in Lynn's. I stayed at a campsite last night. I've charged up, I think, the batteries that count. I've got my phone, my spare battery, and my camera battery are all go again. I'm just gonna head in, it's about 10:30. Met some lovely people. There were so many fucking bicycle tourists in Linz, of all the places. I think probably because everyone's kind of convening from Bratislava, they're convening from Czech Republic in the north. And I would love to go to the Czech Republic, but I have a thing booked. I've got my, yeah, you guys already know that I've got my hostel booked in Vienna, that is. So I'm hoping to hang around Linz at least for a little bit of today. I might have some couch surfing offers for the night if I decide to stay for another day. But for the day, I'm going to go and drink a beer. Actually, no, I need food as well. I haven't been to a supermarket in a little while. I actually just exhausted the last of my food before, apart from about 3 biscuits. A beer in Linz by myself. It's like, it sounds super sad, but it's actually super rewarding. This is the start of Linz proper, where all the cars and all the big name shops and shit are. But this bridge leads right into the main square, which is where I stopped for a beer last night. As much as I would love to get a Pinocchio, give me one of those.